Welcome back, Algebra students. Today we're going to be covering section 8.2, multiplying and factoring monomials with polynomials. So in section 8.1, we talked about polynomials. So now we're going to be talking about multiplying polynomials and doing operations of the such before we get into factoring, because we really need to understand multiplying before we get into factoring. So if we are multiplying, and that's what's expressed here, we have one number outside of the parentheses, the 2, and then we have a binomial inside the parentheses. A binomial is a type of polynomial. It just means more than one term. Anytime you have addition or subtraction separating two terms, that's a polynomial. And actually, a monomial is a type of polynomial too. So anything that is separated by addition or subtraction, with some exceptions with the types of powers it can have. But that was explained in the first video. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into it now. So we're asked to do the distributive property. So we're going to distribute the 2. I call it the rainbow method because you draw these little lines to show that you're multiplying by each term. So we do 2 times the x, carry down the plus sign. The plus sign stays exactly how it is, plus, and then 2 times the 3. So 2x plus 6. Now, a lot of students might do some incorrect procedure here and say 8x, you cannot combine them. They're not like terms. You keep them separated. That's a great 90s song, by the way. 2x plus 6 is the answer. Okay, moving on to B. We're going to do the same thing. Now, even though there's more than 2 terms now, we can just still apply the same concept. That was kind of a sloppy arrow, but you get my meaning, hopefully. So the first thing we do is we do 2 times the negative 3x squared plus the 2 times the x plus the 2 times the 3. So the first thing we do is the first term. There's nothing, these are all unlike terms, and there's not going to be anything we can combine here. So let's go ahead and do that. So we do 2 times negative 3x squared. We're going to multiply the 2 and the negative 3 first. So we get negative 6x squared plus 2x plus 2 times 3 is 6. And that is as far as we can take it. We have negative 6x squared plus 2x plus 6. You want to write this in standard form, which means we go from highest exponent to lowest exponent. So high to low. Okay. A little bit harder now. Instead of just multiplying by 2, we're going to multiply by a variable. In this case, no, let's stay with pink. In this case, negative x cubed. So we're going to multiply this times this, this times this, and that times that. So this times this. Negative x cubed times 9x to the 4th. I almost said minus. Notice here we have a negative. Let me make this highlighter a little bit bigger. Notice how we have a negative and a negative here. That's going to result in a positive. You could write the negative first, but I'm going to go ahead and just show that the negative times the negative is going to result in a positive. Then we have x cubed times 2x cubed. Then I have a negative, because I have a negative times a positive, negative x cubed times 7. Ready to proceed. All these are unlike terms, but let's combine what we can here. So we have an x cubed times an x to the 4th. There's no other number to multiply by except the negative, so I can write negative 9. Pink, sorry. Negative 9. But then what do I do with the x's now? So as we learned in previous sections, when we have like bases with exponents, we add the exponents we multiply. We get x to the 7th. Plus, there's no other numbers here to keep the 2 company, so we're just going to copy the 2 down. After we do that, we add the exponents to the like bases, x to the 5th. Copy the minus, put the number out in front, x cubed, nothing to combine there. Final answer, negative 9x to the 7th plus 2x to the 5th minus 7x cubed. Okay, letter B, I'm going to do this one a little bit quicker just so you can see how I would do this normally. I kind of showed every step here. We have negative 3x times 2x squared. Negative 3 times 2 gives me negative 6. X to the 1st times x squared gives me x to the 3rd because there's an implied 1 here. And you need to add that exponent when you're multiplying those variables. I have a negative times a positive, that gives me minus. The first thing I always worry about is the signs. Once I get the signs sorted, then I go to numbers, and then I go to variables after that. That's just kind of my progression. Hopefully you guys have been picking up on that. So I have negative 3 times 5, negative 15. X to the 1st times x to the 1st, that's x squared. Negative, positive 36x, final answer. Okay, I think we have enough time for factoring for our next video. So we're going to conclude this video just so you can get the hang of multiplying polynomials, hopefully do some practice, and then come back when we're going to talk about some factoring. See you then.